Next to him, Raymond Roche, then Randy Mamola, Franco Uncini, and completing the front row of the grid, Britain's Ron Haslam. The flag falls, and Mamola fires up, so does Haslam, but Lawson was quick off the grid as well. And an excellent start there for Chris Guy, the British boy on the privately owned Honda. But it's Lawson in the red leathers, and not, it's Haslam, Ron Haslam, who leads into the first turn. Lawson pushed back into second spot. Oh, and a nasty fall behind there. It looked a little bit like Didier Duradique, who went down. Tumble on the first corner, but Ron Haslam, Eddie Lawson, Randy Mamola are well clear. Chris Guy is in 5th place at the moment. An excellent start for the Litchfield privateer. And the rest of the field picking their way around the sweeps of this Jarama circuit as Ron Haslam wheelies his way under the bridge, pursued by Eddie Lawson and Randy Mamola. Ron Haslam, the British boy, certainly the top British rider on the Grand Prix trails at the moment. Going very well on the factory Honda, out in front, and certainly Honda would want him to beat Lawson here if they can. Freddie Spencer out of action, of course, injured at the Donington Park Transatlantic Challenge, and Ron Haslam doing the job that the Honda factory team want him to do, and that's to be in front of Yamaha-mounted Eddie Lawson. Haslam, 27 years of age, from Langley Mill in Nottinghamshire, leads the Spanish Grand Prix down onto the pits straight, and Lawson pulls out of his slipstream. Is the 4-cylinder Yamaha quicker than the 3-cylinder Honda? Yes, it is, because it's Lawson who goes into the lead. Haslam is now second, and snapping on the heels is Randy Mamola with the factory Honda that he's had to buy from the Japanese factory. Lawson, Haslam, Mamola, the British boy now in the middle of this American sandwich. Haslam still trying hard to get back on terms with this man, Eddie Lawson. Lawson, who leads the World Championship at the moment by 5 points. And Mamola looks for the inside line. Can he get it? No, he can't. Haslam goes across his front wheel. Lawson out in front, beginning to pull away. And I'm sure Mamola is desperate to try to see whether his factory Honda can match Lawson's Yamaha. Lawson pulling away now. Haslam still there in second place. Randy Mamola is in third spot. And Mamola looks for the inside line again. Lawson now out of the shadow of Kenny Roberts, so long the #1 man at the Yamaha factory, and it's now Lawson's turn to be the #1 for Yamaha, and he leads the end of this lap. Mamola is second. Mamola's gone ahead of Haslam. Raymond Roche is there in 4th place, and Franco Uncini 5th. There's Mamola wheeling his way, trying hard to get back on terms with Lawson. So Lawson, having done all the hard work, well out in front, heading for 15 points in this World Championship battle, and that really will be a splendid piece of news for the Marlborough Yamaha team, because with Spencer not here, that will put Lawson a colossal 27 points ahead of the reigning world champion. Lawson out in front on the last lap now. The checkered flag is ready for him. Lawson is going to win this one. There goes Lawson, 15 points to his credit. It takes his score to 42 points, and the long wait now for the second place man, Randy Mamola, who I'm sure will be pleased with his return to World Championship racing. Mamola takes the checkered flag now, 12 points for him. Raymond Roche goes through, that he gets 10 points, and that means that Roche now trails by 10 points in the championship battle. Ron Haslam goes through in 4th place, but the victory lap for Eddie Lawson, who's the winner of the Spanish Grand Prix.
So confirming the result then, Lawson first on the Yamaha, then came the Hondas of Mamola, Roche and Haslam, and Barry Sheen finished in 7th place. Eddie Lawson increasing his overall lead. He's on 42 points. 10 points adrift is Raymond Roche of France. And Spencer, even though he didn't ride, retains third place. And two riders share fourth, Barry Sheene and Bout van Dulmen. And by the way, Ron Haslam is sixth overall. Momola, fourth is Raymond Roche, and Ron Haslam is fifth. Spencer is moving up all the time on Lawson. He's won the last 3 rounds of the championship, but his Honda teammates have to work hard to push Lawson down the field. Our commentators now are Peter Clifford and Chris Carter.
15 seconds to go for the start of this Dutch TT. 20 laps ahead of them then. The front row of the grid, Eddie Lawson on the Yamaha, then 3 Hondas. Britain's Ron Haslam, American Randy Momola, and the Frenchman Raymond Roche. The world champion Freddie Spencer's on the second row of the grid, and so is Barry Sheene. They're pushing, and Haslam once again, as ever, makes a superb start ahead of Randy Momola, and Haslam goes into the lead. No, he doesn't. Momola forces him out, and a whole gaggle of riders through the S-bend, and then they go on to the new part of the circuit with Randy Momola, number 3, on the 3-cylinder Honda in the lead. Ron Haslam from Britain is second.
And that looks like Barry Sheene, who's up in third place. Could that be Sheene?
Here's a replay of the start. Number 9, Ron Haslam, second from the right, gets on board first. You see the puff of smoke first, but Momola's right with him, and you can see Sheene fourth away from the grid there, just behind Didier de Rodriguez, and it is Sheene who's third out on the track at the moment, and Momola is closing, or being caught rather, by Haslam and Sheene. Momola, Haslam, Sheene.
Then Spencer in fourth place, and Eddie Lawson wasn't behind in fifth or sixth.
Momola number 3, Haslam number 9, Sheene number 7. One then is Didier de Rodriguez in fifth place. And we look back to see where bike number 4 was. I didn't see him, Peter, did you?
Yeah, I think he's about fifth or sixth, just behind already and in front of Raymond Roche.
He's in sixth place then. Momola number 3 in the lead. 20 laps then, this 500cc race. And in 7 years, we've had 7 different winners of this race. Spencer through now to third place, pushing Sheene back.
And somebody went down the slip road, just flat across the back in front of the screen. I think that was Didier de Rodriguez.
It could well have been Didier. Didier was in fifth place, and it looks at indeed Lawson now is in fifth position on the distinctive red fairing of the Yamaha, and Spencer looking for a way past Haslam. Momola, Haslam, Spencer on Honda's first, second and third. Momola and Haslam, of course, on the 3-cylinder machine. Spencer on the 4-cylinder bike, and Barry Sheene there on the Suzuki in fourth place as Spencer goes through on the inside to go through to second, and Sheene is going to pass Haslam. Sheene has gone ahead of Ron Haslam, so Haslam is back now into fourth spot. Momola, Spencer, and Spencer looking for the inside line, and it looks like Spencer goes through into the lead, coming round to complete the first lap. They're at the chicane, and it's Spencer, Momola, Sheene, Haslam, Lawson, Roche.
Then Wayne Gardner, Wolfgang von Meraut, and Eero Ivarinen.
Well, tremendous start, and this, I think, is where Spencer, Sheene, no, indeed it wasn't. It was where I thought where Sheene was overtaking Haslam. A slow-motion replay from our Dutch director. Not quite sure what he's trying to show us, but meantime, the leader out on the circuit, and that's Freddie Spencer, of course, the reigning world champion. He trails Eddie Lawson at the moment by 17 points, with 4 more rounds to come after today's race. 15 points, of course, going to the winner. And Momola under pressure from Barry Sheene. A great performance so far from Sheene.
Yes, Barry's old Suzuki, it's a couple of years old. Really shouldn't be a match for the 4-cylinder Honda of Spencer number 1 in front, or the 3-cylinder machine of Momola's behind. But Sheene putting on a superb performance on a track he loves very much.
And still the order: Spencer, Momola, Sheene and Haslam. Lawson still in 5th place, but he's getting closer and closer to that leading quartet. And Mark Sal into the pits, which is sad luck indeed. Mark Sal qualifying 15th fastest. Spencer number 1, Momola number 3, Sheene, of course, number 7 as ever, Haslam number 9. That's the order of the first 4.
And Spencer riding the V4. He, after he was 1.5 seconds slower than Eddie Lawson in practice, he wished he had a chance to go and race the older 3-cylinder model. And in fact, a bike was prepared for him, but in the supplementary regulations, it states that he must ride the same type of bike that he qualified on, and that meant he had to ride the 4.
So the regulations forcing Spencer to use the 4-cylinder Honda. And there's the Crocodile in order. Spencer, this is Sheen number 7 chasing Mamola 3. Round to complete the second lap. Spencer, Mamola, Sheen, Haslam, Lawson, Roche.
And Lawson seems to be gaining on Haslam, trying to make his way through to challenge Spencer, as he know he must, to maintain his championship lead.
The clouds dark and forbidding over the Assen circuit. 140,000 spectators here today, and at least 5,000 British fans to watch the action.
Mamola hanging way off the 3-cylinder Honda number 3, getting his weight to the inside of the corner. But that's the leader, Freddie Spencer, as we see Marco Lucanelli on the Cagiva go into the pits.
Sheen closing on Mamola as Lawson in turn closes on Haslam. And Roche is still there in 6th place. Spencer number 1. 22 years of age, the reigning world champion from Shreveport, Louisiana. And obviously that practice performance didn't mean a lot. You can see Lawson lining himself up to dive through on the inside of Haslam. Not possible that time.
And very difficult to pass on this tight and twisty Assen circuit. The track is very narrow, and Spencer's slowing.
Spencer's in trouble. Freddie Spencer is in mechanical problem. And this could well be the moment that Freddie Spencer loses the 500cc world title. Freddie Spencer in serious mechanical problems. He's touring back to the pits, I'm sure of that. And if Spencer doesn't finish this race, the moment again, the replay, some mechanical problem. And Freddie Spencer is touring back to the pits. Mamola goes through into the lead. Sheen is now 2nd. Haslam is 3rd. Lawson, number 4, overtakes Spencer. And with that action replay, the World Championship almost certainly now going to Eddie Lawson for Yamaha.
Surely Lawson just couldn't believe his luck as he watched Spencer touring in there, and he was able to overtake without having to make any effort.
Mamola, number 3, in the lead. Barry Sheen in 2nd place.
And Spencer is going straight into the pits. The engine's obviously still running, but he's standing in the pits and the mechanics have crowded round.
Mamola still out in front. Barry Sheen for Britain in 2nd place. And here is Spencer. And you can see Freddie is not the happiest of people. He walks away from the bike.
And what they're taking off now is the cover over the exhaust pipe. This machine has the petrol tank slung underneath. And that's the, although it looks like a petrol tank, it's just a cover. There are the 4 pipes of the V4.
This is Irv Kanemoto. Spencer coming back into the picture to see exactly what's going on.
And the problem is with this V4, it's so compact that if they wanted to get at the plugs to see what has gone wrong with the machine, they've got to do an awful lot of work before they can get there. They've got to take these pipes off.
Back now with the leaders. Mamola, number 3, still in the lead. Barry Sheen, number 7, in 2nd place. Ron Haslam is there in 3rd spot. Almost symbolically, in fact, with Spencer's retirement, I now believe that the 3 men out in front actually believe they can win. I think any of the 5 men there now believe they can win. Spencer, a terrible tragedy that the problem has struck Honda, because Spencer is a wonderful rider, and the majority of the men out there, with perhaps the exception of Lawson, know that Spencer probably can beat them with conditions being equal. But with Spencer being out, I think every one of those 5 men out there, Peter, believe they can win this race.
Yes, the only man who may, in fact, strangely being a touch sad about it is Lawson, because he feels that he's a better rider than Spencer and has wanted all year to prove it, and they have never raced together. They're battling for the championship, and Spencer leads the pits.
Spencer going out onto the track, but this is a futile gesture. Spencer he would need an earthquake something of that magnitude, and out in front it's getting closer and closer, and of course Lawson won't want to mix it too much. The last thing you want to do will be knocked off in this little group, so Lawson, I think, quite happy to be fifth. Mamola the leader, Sheen from Haslam, Raymond Rush now up into fourth place, and although the Hondas and Haslam goes through, takes Barry Sheen, so it's Haslam in second place now, ahead of Barry Sheen. Lawson, of course, now knows that Spencer is unlikely, almost certainly not going to score any points in this race, only the first 10 home. And there's Rob Punt, the Dutchman. He's obviously gone off the track somewhere, having a little cigarette and a spectate.
Yes, as I said, Lawson wanted to win this race. He was fastest in practice. He felt he could do it, and maybe he is a touch disappointed as we watch Haslam lead Sheen and Roche.
Haslam in second place, Sheen in third spot, Roche in fourth position. Mamola still out in front. Mamola, like Haslam and Roche, on the three-cylinder Hondas.
Yes, these are the V three-cylinder machines, one cylinder pointing forwards and down, the other two pointing parallel vertically upwards. Very good machines, ideally suited to this Assen circuit. And I think that's Massimo Broccoli's just gone into the pits on a production Honda.
Mamola and Haslam, Roche going through to third place, so Honda's now first, second and third. Barry Sheen on the Suzuki relegated to fourth place, and Eddie Lawson on the Seoul factory Yamaha out in the leading bunch in fifth place. But I repeat, with Spencer unlikely to score any points, Lawson will not be too worried until the closing stages at any rate about where he actually finishes. Any points here is almost a double bonus. This is Mamola, the race leader. 24-year-old Randy Mamola, and that at number 4, Eddie Lawson, almost certainly the new 500cc world champion. I don't think Spencer can score any points here, and if Lawson stretches more than a 17-point advantage with 4 more rounds to go, it will be very, very difficult, but not mathematically impossible, for Spencer to retain his title.
And Spencer comes back into the pits again. Just as the leaders cross the line, Mamola on to the next lap, Spencer is going into the pits.
So Mamola out. 15 laps to go, 5 laps completed. Mamola out in front.
Number 4 there, Eddie Lawson on the V4 Yamaha, the reed valve machine. Very similar to the bike that he and Kenny Roberts used last year, except that had disc valve induction. They've made the changes this year to reed valve, and it's much more tractable and easy to start.
Certainly starting was a problem for the Yamaha team last year of Kenny Roberts and Eddie Lawson. Much quicker starting now, and that's made life easy. And Roche just sails through on the inside of Mamola. Absolutely no problem at all. Roche seized a moment, dived through on the inside of Randy Mamola. And the Frenchman, Raymond Roche, is in the lead. And Sheen is touring. Barry Sheen was touring. Here's where Roche goes through on the inside of Mamola.
A little bit desperate because, as you say, Raymond gets through, but then has to run wide here. And actually, Randy thinks about coming back underneath him.
Oh, and Mamola shows that he can play the overtaking game if he has to. Mamola back in front now, Roche. Lawson is third, and Ron Haslam is now a lonely fourth-place man because Barry Sheen had some problems. We saw him just for a moment in picture, sitting up and touring. Well, that really is bad luck if it's put Barry out of the race. We hope he can keep going, but Sheen, who was right up there with the leaders, second at one stage. Roche makes the charge again. He's a hard man. Born in Toulon, now lives at Le Castellet, a beautiful little village very close to the Paul Ricard circuit. And Raymond Roche, who earned his ride with Honda France, and Roche looking for the inside line and gets it. And Lawson's with them. Oh, it's desperate stuff here. Roche, Mamola and Lawson. And Mamola dives through on the inside of Raymond Roche.
Absolutely superb stuff, and the two Honda riders just slowed each other up enough to make it easy for Lawson to catch them. Mamola will have seen that Lawson's behind him now, and he knows the threat from the fellow Californian. He'll be desperate to try and pull out a bit of advantage and leave Rush to deal with Lawson.
Well, one of the reasons, of course, that these two men are trying very hard is because, of course, they want to win a Grand Prix. Mamola's won 5 Grand Prix in his career. Raymond Roche still to win a Grand Prix. But equally important is the fact that that would give them 15 points. At the moment, they are almost level pegging. Mamola is 3rd in the championship with 54 points. Roche with 53 in 4th place. 15 points to the winner, 12 points to 2nd place, and 10 points to the 3rd man. And with Spencer having so much problems, really could easily be that one of these men, Roche or Mamola, could finish runner-up in the World Championship this year. Mamola leads from number 11, Roche, and Lawson number 4.
And we're coming to a part of the circuit accelerating out of here, which is one of Lawson's favourites. He may try and make a move.
And the lap chart shows that Barry Sheen is missing. Barry Sheen is out of the race. So whatever the problem was, the mechanical problem, we're fairly certain it's put him out of the race. Lawson with the fastest lap, 2 minutes 16.60, compared with a fastest lap in practice of 2:15.94.
So that's over 100 miles an hour average for the lap.
And a reminder that Freddie Spencer, the reigning world champion, out of the race very early on, and Roche dives through on the inside of Mamola to take the lead yet again at the chicane. And they're side by side, with Mamola fractionally ahead, but who's going to give way at the chicane? It's Roche, just almost unwillingly easing off, but he dives through back on the inside of Mamola. Roche back in front, the lead constantly changing in a tremendous battle between the two Honda men.
And as you pointed out, almost certainly Lawson is not prepared to get mixed up in a fairing, clashing episode with these two. He's secure. He knows at least if he stays where he is, he gets 10 points, and that's valuable. And he may wait to the near closing stages to make his move.
And 10 points, of course, for Lawson for 3rd place would give him a 27-point advantage over Freddie Spencer with 4 more rounds to go. And although that is not mathematically a winning situation, realistically it is.
And I say that he isn't going to get involved, but actually he told me that yesterday that if it came to it, he would clash bangs with anyone. They said, I'll bump into them if they bump into me.
Well, we've seen more than once this year. Certainly the Austrian Grand Prix was a fine example of fairing clashing, with Mamola and Lawson doing most of the mashing, if I remember rightly. Mamola in the lead from Raymond Roche and Eddie Lawson. 9 laps completed in this 20-lap race. We're coming up to the halfway stage. This is the 10th lap, and Sergio Palladini on the HB Suzuki, he too is out of the race. He's pulled into the pits. Keith Hewan at the moment is in 17th place, and we've probably a bit mistaken to say that Mark Sell went out. He at the moment is in 13th spot, according to the computer. And Chris Guy, not having the happiest of time, he's down in 26th place. Three men, nose to tail, battling for the lead. Next time round, it will be 10 laps completed, and that'll be the halfway stage. Into the 11th lap, and Lawson pulls out of Roche's slipstream, and he's through to 2nd place. It's now Mamola, Lawson and Roche.
And as I pointed out, the Hondas all on French Michelin tyres, but the British interest is that Lawson's Yamaha is on Dunlops.
Well, Lawson was fairly critical of his tyres in Yugoslavia, and much happier, I'm sure, with the performance of the Dunlop compared with the Michelins of Mamola and Roche in this particular race, but still half the race to go.
A close-up there shows you the padding on Mamola's knee that he scrapes the road with as he sweeps through the corner. Lawson right on his tail again.
Haslam goes through in 4th place in a big gap. But Haslam is very safe in 4th position. Gardner goes through, he's in 5th spot. And they're coming up on another tail ender. Will Lawson use this as an opportunity to get ahead? It looks like Biliotti.
I think it's Lorenzo Giselli, another Italian. Oh, and he gets right, almost peeled off into Mamola there and then gets in Lawson's way. And Roche chooses the opportunity to go right up the inside, passing Lawson on the brakes.
And Eddie Lawson shows exactly what he thinks about Giselli. Well, Eddie Lawson, not a happy man there, and yeah, you can't really blame him, but of course, no mirrors on these motorcycles. Giselli got no idea where people were, and he was sticking to his racing line, and sometimes that's the safest thing to do, Peter.
Yes, at least Lawson was able to avoid him, even though it put him way offline, rather the lack of the draw that went against him.
So Lawson now with a lot to do again. Roche has seized his chance. He really is a master at seizing opportunities. And Roche now, it's Roche's turn to breathe down Mamola's neck. Well, what a turn-up for the book it would be if Raymond Roche won this one.
It's Mamola, I should imagine, will get quite a shock if it's Roche who sticks his wheel up inside him instead of Lawson.
And here they come. 3 laps to go now, 17 laps gone, and Roche couldn't have timed that move better if he'd tried. 3 laps then. Just over 10 miles of racing left for Raymond Roche to beat Randy Mamola if he can, or for Eddie Lawson to come from 3rd place and pass both these 3-cylinder Hondas to win. But Spencer, of course, the world champion, out of the race early on with some mechanical problems, and Mamola and Roche doing all the running out in front.
It's unlikely that Mamola yet knows that it's Roche who's behind him now, as it certainly won't have come up on his pit board this time through. And it's Roche.
It's not Roche behind, it's Roche in front, and again Roche went wide, and Mamola seized the chance to go through on the inside, but a very nasty moment. Both men could easily have gone down then, Peter.
Yes, it was exactly what Roche did earlier on in the race, and again he ran wide doing it. As we see, he goes very, very late on the brakes. Mamola almost peels off into him, gives him a berth, and by the time Raymond's decided to peel off into the corner, he's missed the apex by a good 2 yards.
And Mamola seizes the chance. There's a big gap there. He winds it through, but Roche, who is trying to recover from that situation, almost has his front wheel taken away from him by Randy Mamola. But Lawson is now up into 2nd place. Roche is in 3rd spot now. And really, it's still anybody's race. Lawson lifts the front wheel on acceleration as he chases Mamola.
I rather think that sort of lift of the wheel almost suggests that Lawson thinks he's got it. It's sort of a display of enthusiasm.
Well, I wouldn't like to put money on anything. Roche is still there. He's closing up on Lawson. We've seen that he's quite prepared to stick his neck out. Raymond Roche has never won a Grand Prix. Randy Mamola has won 5. Eddie Lawson has won 3. And we're coming up on some tail enders again. Two laps to go. There's the board. Here are the 3 men battling for those 2 laps. They're closing up again on tail enders. Mamola, Lawson, Roche. And somebody gentlemanly moves out of the way. The 3 men safely through, no problems for any of them there. And Lawson and Mamola definitely quickening the pace. And Roche goes through on the inside. Can he hold it? Yes, he can. He forces Lawson wide, and Lawson won't be pleased about that at all, will he, Peter?
No, Lawson could have leant back on Roche, but at the risk of them both colliding and going down, that really was a bit off that, and Lawson just let him go because he wants the 10 points.
Well, as Takazumi Katayama would say, that's lacing.
And another tail ender.
Mamola and the tail ender closes the gap. Roche has to ease off. Is it going to be Roche's turn to be zapped by Lawson? And they've lost some valuable seconds then. Mamola and Lawson pulls out of the slipstream and just eases through, almost having to go round Roche's elbow, and Roche is going to chop it back again. Lawson pushed back to third spot.
But Roche ran wide again, almost off the track there in his desperate late-braking manoeuvre. He really is riding a touch over the edge.
Well, I think when you're that close to winning your first Grand Prix, Peter, he can be excused. Maybe I'm just excited at seeing a European who can actually match the Americans for a change.
Certainly, Roche, even during his 24-hour races, has ridden like that in the middle of the night. He'd come past late on the day, banging fairings with people, and yet he was an endurance world champion, so maybe he can do it. Well, Mamola getting held up now.
Yes, somebody wanting to race with Mamola.
And it's Paul Lewis, the Australian, and that gives Lawson
on the inside, and Roche is there as well. Well, Paul Lewis in the way, a lap to go now. They're through the chicane. It's Mamola, Roche and Lawson, and Paul Lewis, the young Australian. He's in 16th place, so they've lapped all but the 15th man. It's last lap, all or nothing now, and Mamola's got a bit of an advantage, but Roche is charging. And Lawson in turn charging on Roche. Well, I should think there's been enough incidents in the last few laps for the little red haze to be in front of Eddie Lawson's eyes at the moment. Any thoughts of being cool and calm and settling for third place? I think they've gone, Peter.
Yes, the Yamaha twitched violently there as he accelerated out of the corner, still leant over the front wheel, pouring the air, but it's Mamola, number 3, who still leads from Raymond Roche, number 11, and 4 Lawson.
Well, before this race, there was a lot of talk about whether Yamaha would draft in Kenny Roberts to help Eddie Lawson go for the world title. I don't think that's going to be necessary.
And Raymond not leaving Lawson the chance of going through on the inside there.
And whether Roche has decided he's going to be second and be a good boy for Honda. And Mamola was almost on the grass then, Peter.
Using every inch, including all the white line there.
Mamola, Roche, Lawson, that's the order. They're less than half a lap to go now, and Roche gets closer. You can see Mamola using the white line and a little bit of the dirt on the outside, and Roche is charging. I don't think Lawson's in this one. I think it's a battle between Mamola and I think they've lapped Chris Guy for a second time in about 6 laps. And Mamola and Roche. And it's the final charge.
And Lawson just taking it easy. He's well out of it.
And Mamola and will Roche go for the inside line? He has. And Raymond Roche has gone in front. And he's going to hang on. I think no, Mamola goes round the outside. And they actually clash fairings. I'm sure they touch then. And Mamola wins. And Roche is second. And Lawson is third. In an absolutely dramatic and sensational finish. Roche had dived through on the inside. He'd got the lead. He thought he'd won. I'm sure he had. But Mamola came barging through on the inside, as he got every right to do.
And Lawson just sat back. He saw what was going on.
Roche taking the lead. Mamola, Roche once again goes wide. He banks the machine over to its absolute limit. Mamola comes back, wrestling with the handlebars. Mamola seizes the opportunity. He comes charging through. They're ever so close, and whether they actually touch, we shall see here now. I'm sure they do. They do. They must touch. That must be a collision between, and Roche knocked off line by about 5 or 6 feet. Well, what a finish to a sensational Dutch TT. But I repeat, Randy Mamola, the winner, Raymond Roche, second, and Eddie Lawson third, with Ron Haslam finishing fourth.
Yes, a remarkable finish. Let me just confirm those. In the first four, Randy Mamola winning it on the Honda, Raymond Roche of France also on a Honda in second place, that Yamaha ridden by Eddie Lawson in third place, and fourth Ron Haslam on another Honda. So after 8 rounds of the championship, these are the standings. Lawson has increased his lead at the top of the leaderboard with 99 points. In second place, the reigning world champion Spencer with 72. Of course, he had to drop out of the race today. In third place, Mamola with 69. Fourth is Raymond Roche of France with 65. And Ron Haslam on the Honda is in fifth place with